Hello, everyone. For those of you that haven't been here before, just make sure to raise your hand and I will add you as a panelist. I've had a lot of people refuse to be a panelist and then ask why they're not on camera. So I just want to remind everyone that being a panelist does not mean you have to talk. It just means you have the ability to talk. So just giving you guys that reminder, and I will promote you to panelist. Don't be worried about the word panelist. All right. There we go. And today I'm going to be trying something new. So if it looks a little bit wonky, just, bear with me. We've had a couple of, not necessarily complaints, but that you can't see the full coach view when we're doing form checks because we're on screen share. So what I'm going to do is basically hop out of screen share if Nick has any forms to show or demonstrate. Same with Jen. And we'll see if that's an easier way for everyone to kind of see what Nick is doing. Are we waiting for Daniel, Nick?
I have no idea. We can go along. I'm here.
Yeah, why don't we just get started?
Yeah, so thanks again for everyone joining. We'll start this off. Does anyone have any questions? Go ahead. I know we were talking about make sure you raise hand if you have a question. Um, that way I can get to you. Um, there's Sarah that says she can't interact. She needs to be added as a panelist. Noah's typing. He's on it. See, that's why he does this shit. Um, Yeah, do we have any questions? Andres was first up, so go ahead, hit me with it.
Yeah. So when I'm doing a bench press, sometimes my left shoulder is kind of like I get like a little pinch in there. So I don't know if it's the position, if maybe I have to check it out.
That's a loaded question without that's basically like asking me to figure out how much a car's worth and I don't know the year, make, and model. Uh,
Okay.
so I'd have to see your bench press for one, and two, getting a professional opinion never is a bad thing.
Okay.
I strongly recommend some sort of sports doc, sports PT,
Yep.
because what they'll do is they'll run you through a physical assessment on movement and can help kind of narrow down the scope of what's potentially pinching.
Yeah.
And then they can figure out if A, you should get imagery, or B, if it's something they can kind of work you through and alleviate in and of itself. So that's my biggest recommendation is
Yeah.
find a sports PT in your area and see if you can get in for an assessment and figure out what's going on.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, uh, that hands-on is going to be much more effective when it comes to
Right.
something that's pain symptomatic.
Okay. All right. Sounds good. Thank you.
Yes. Rory, go ahead.
Hi. Okay, so I have two questions. First one is when I'm doing a lift, a movement, do I want to actually be completely straightening? Or do I want to be going up and not quite locking, whether it's my arm or if I'm doing an RDL, do I want to be locking my knees or do I want that to be a gentle, not quite locked position?
RDLs, you can have some slight bend in the knee for sure. The goal with the RDL is to get that hamstring and glute stretch as you go down to the bottom. What's important with the RDL is to have the posture in the posterior chain from lumbar to C spine.
Okay.
Want that nice and neutral and rigid, and you can have soft knees. So, I have shit range of motion. So I have, a little bend, more bend than most in my RDL. But the important part is you're not pushing the ground away like you would on a deadlift to lock it out. You're squeezing your glutes and bringing your hips through in a hinging pattern and not assisting with leg drive.
Okay, so since you mentioned squeezing the glutes, so when I'm doing a lift, do I want to always be squeezing the glute and tightening the ab? Because
Yeah,
that's something I think I've never really understood.
When we're talking about compound lifts, like the main ones, the squat, bench, deadlift, overhead, you should always have full body tension.
Okay,
You should absolutely be squeezing your core, especially on an RDL or good morning or something of that sort, because your core is what supports your back. If you don't have a strong brace, your back is a fraction of as strong as it could be.
okay,
When it comes like overhead and locking out, yeah, there's nothing wrong with locking out overhead, and things of that nature. Yeah, you don't need to. If you have the range of motion to completely lock out, then yes, you should. The soft lockouts. I also have a competitor mindset where soft lockouts don't get down commands. So
okay,
that's where I'm ingrained. But I mean, if you can lock out, it's not a problem. You don't need to hold it there, right? Just
okay,
fit down.
okay.
It's mechanical.
Okay, my second question was, I don't necessarily have knee pain, but I have very crackly knees. And
That's
my knees tend to feel like, I'll call it like pressure.
Mhm.
So is that something that my body is just going to continue to work through and my knees will get stronger? Or is that crackling like a precursor? I'm 45 right now. So is
That
that like a
crack-
precursor to knee issues?
that crackling is just a side effect of being human.
Okay,
My knees do it. I had one knee that was popping quite a bit for a while, like one significant, like at a certain point in my range of motion. Now, what you can do is probably give your knees a little bit more of an extensive warm up. Banded TKEs, leg extensions with an isometric hold at the top, lightweight, sissy squats with your hands supported. So we want to get a nice long quad stretch. Warming up that quad is really important for knee health. So it could just be things are tight, and by the time you're starting to ask things of your knees in your workout, they're not necessarily primed. And as we know, the warming up that I do at 32 is significantly different than what I did at 22.
okay.
And we all know how
Well,
it goes.
so I notice when I'm doing the warm up, that 8 body weight squats, that's when I'm really feeling the crackling and the pressure. And then by the time I'm done with my workout, I feel good. But if a few hours go by and then I go in the kitchen and I squat to get something from the lower cupboard, I'm feeling it again.
Yeah, it's just a matter of warming up.
Okay, awesome. Thank you.
Give your knees a little bit more attention before your workout. Like I said, banded TKEs, couch stretches. It's where you kneel, basically. You're in a kneeling position, and your back foot is behind you on something. If this is my knee, this is my foot. My foot is up on like a bench or a couch, and I'm sitting into it and stretching my quad. I'm sitting back, and you should feel a nice big quad stretch from hip flexor to knee. That's a really big one when it comes to knee health, and it helps with things like patellar tendonitis and things of that nature. But isometrics, pauses with leg extensions will really help get blood in there without really taxing your legs pre-workout. Cool. Ryan, go ahead.
All right. So this one came up from conversation I was having in the comment sections. As I'm going through my sets and my reps, how much can my form degrade before it's total shit and I should just drop the weight? That makes sense.
It depends on what is the programmed effort. Like it depends on the goal of that set and that workout, right? So like if we're going for a true 1 rep max, I expect form degradation. But if we're talking, where we want 3 reps in the tank by our top set left over, your form should still be perfect. especially like if we're working up. Like first, say you have 5 sets and you have increasing weight over 5 sets. Maybe your last 2 reps, things get a little, but the first, I would say 4 sets, they should all look the same.
Okay. So yeah, I mean, right now I just finished up the Maximize Your Strength program. I'm going to be restarting that. So
Yeah, we want to
Just-
build in the world of perfection as much as possible. Now,
Got
when we
it.
have the times where we're calling for max effort, things can degrade. So here's what I tell people is like, if you can get to here with perfect, when you absolutely full send it and your form shit, it's going to give you a bigger ceiling, right? So, because our body does different things. Things come out when we're flirting with that 98 to 102%. Um, our body tries to move and put itself into positions of leverage or weaknesses come through.
Mhm.
And so if we can really move in a plane of great, perfect, if you will, we're strong. Those weaknesses tend to be less significant when we do have the max effort.
Mhm. Okay. Got it. Thank you.
Yep. Anyone else?
There's a question in the Q&A tab, Nick. Can you see that?
Yeah. I couldn't get my form checks to upload. I emailed to catch, had issues. I don't know if he's here today. First time submitting.
No, sorry, not the chat, Nick. There's a Q&A tab.
Oh, I see it.
Yeah.
Caveman over here.
You're good.
Ruptured the burst in my knee about 10 years ago. Feels pretty good most of the time. Lately, I've noticed when doing squats, weighted or not, I feel the pain. Any tips? Doctors give me the all clear to train. Yeah. So this is another case of, oh, just went away.
Go to
uh,
the answered tab, Nick.
Got it.
Sorry.
Yeah, bursitis is can be tricky as well as really painful. Um, so odds are if you have the all clear to train again, where where is the pain the most in the squat? These are things where like this is where I was talking about movement assessments. Movement assessments are really, really helpful from like a sports PT, is knowing where the pain is in the squat. Is it the full range of motion? Is it at a point where torsion is highest on the knee? Where is the bursa? There's a lot of questions here that would impact the way I'd have you progress back into your squats. Something I'm doing with Noah as we speak, I'm completely reprogramming his squat and his deadlift. We are literally starting at the top of the range of motion and gradually working down each week. So he's doing really high box squats right now and really high rack pulls. And we're progressing down. So we're maintaining that form because he's had some hip issues in the past. So this is where things like that, and it's kind of allowing me to assess him. We're baselining, but I'm assessing him in this process and seeing where in the pull, where in the squat, things are not communicating correctly. So it sucks to do as someone on the receiving end of it, but it's giving me a shitload of information as a coach. So for something like this, I would take the same approach. Is I would take your ranges of motion and break them down into sections and figure out where pain's at the highest and build on that. So I would say the same thing I told Andres is get an assessment from a sports PT, not just a doctor, a clinician, an actual sports PT that is versed in movement, and see how that could help you. Because again, I would need more information. I'd want to do an assessment. I'd want to see how you're moving with what's going on now to kind of tell you what the next move is. So that's my recommendation. Get a second opinion from a sports doc and see what's available movement wise, and figure out the next course of action with what's on the table as is. Any other questions?
Did you get any in the app itself, Nick, that you want to go through? before?
I was looking at them earlier. Let's see. So Chris Mason, sort of two questions in one. I was curious what your thoughts were about conventional versus sumo deadlifts in general. I have been using conventional and sometimes think about playing around with sumo for diversity. Is it better just to stick with one or the other? Also, I noticed before a little while back when struggling with rack pulls at the same weight as my regular deadlift, rack pulls just seem off to me. There was more emphasis in my lower back. I wonder if I did sumo instead of rack pulls, if that would improve. If you do sumo rack pulls, I'm gonna bully you into eternity because what's your range of motion gonna be? Like an inch? So I'm gonna try and put. I have an audience. I need to filter. So sumo pulls, my perspective, sumo pulls are not allowed in strongman. We're allowed deadlift suits depending on the contest if they say they're allowed. Sumo pulls are, so it is something I've seen and I've done used to reinforce my conventional pull in my off season. Sumo pulls, in a nutshell, bring your hips lower, widen your legs, and effectively cut several inches of range of motion out of your pull. They prioritize different things. Sumo pulls are much better for people that are very quad dominant, but they require a lower hip position, a strong core to keep you upright, and utilizing. Like if someone has short legs and long arms, you're already built for deadlift. Sumo pulling is probably only going to make deadlift easier. But to answer his question, your rack pulls seem off to me because they put more emphasis on my lower back. Probably because your quads and your hamstrings, your legs in general are doing less at that point in the range of motion. So it's going to be glutes and back trying to get through to finish off the rep. So if you're feeling it in your back, odds are it's probably you have a weak point in your glutes or your brace. If you can play with it, I mean, see what it's about, but learn it correctly. I don't really believe there's a place for it outside of your main pool unless you're a power lifter. So, and it's going to be actually advantageous for you. I'd love to see what your conventional pool looks like. If hopefully he submitted something and we can actually take a look at it, and I could maybe submit your rack pulls if that's where you're having an issue. I'd love to take a look at those as well. But my opinion on conventional versus sumo, I think everyone should learn conventional first. Because what overall world record, I'm going to say it like this. Out of all the deadlift world records that have been pulled, we've seen Hathor, we've seen Eddie. Were any of them sumo? Nope. That's the best way I can say that.
Robert says, am I the only one who doesn't know what a sumo pull is? You should probably not know what it is so that you don't ever.
A sumo pull is just Google it. Google sumo deadlift. Sumo stance. It's called sumo stance because of your legs are wider and your toes are pointed out. So it's like a sumo wrestler position when they start.
Arms are in your legs instead of outside.
Just go between your thighs instead of outside your legs like a conventional pull. Do we have any more questions? April, we don't need to skip your videos. Oh, that's a novel. I'm not reading all that right in this moment. Sorry. I didn't mention herniating some lumbar discs in the past. I herniated one last year. Weakness and numbness in the foot made great improvement and just flared it up again. Was hoping to hear some encouragement more about your prior recovery journey because as a strongman, you're doing crazy movements like Atlas stones, overhead log presses, and all the things that cause spinal loading and flexion. Yeah, it's because recovery and rehab is constant. Even when I'm not hurt, I go to PT, or strengthening. Um, Even when I'm not hurt, I'm going to sports massage. So when your lumbar is herniated, our spine is constantly loaded, even if we're making breakfast, right? Because gravity is gravity. So when you're dealing with these herniations, you kind of have to be resilient uh in how you do your day in and day out things. Um, because the little movements that come with helping with those are constant. Even when it feels okay and everything feels normal, that's not the time to stop. That's just an affirmation you need to keep doing what you're doing to help them. So, whatever you've been doing to help improve, stay on that gas pedal, man. You cannot give it an inch because every time I've pissed it off, it's either been warm ups or lightweight. I've never heard it on a heavy lift ever. Not the acute point. Um, Typically, I do it something explosively, and I'm not braced because I'm not thinking about it because it's light. I call it no brain weight. That's typically when I fuck up and piss something off. So keep doing what you're doing to make it feel good. That's kind of the trick. There's no real magic trick. No real high level advice there. It's just keep doing it. Um, I don't want to sit here and scroll and put a bunch of dead time in here. Um, and people are long-winded in text. One thing I'd like to discuss is about maintaining good form, doing lower reps slash bigger weights. I attempted a 3-rep deadlift with the best form in mind, but I cannot shake the feeling I did something wrong. Uploaded the video. Cool. Arthur, we'll just take a look at that, and um, that's not a problem. Ray, go ahead.
Hey, I just did a workout where I had dumbbell high pulls, and dumbbell high pulls are somewhat new to me. And I get the first set mindset, you know, when I'm doing a bench press, and I got that last rep in me, and I'm pretty sure I only have maybe one more to stop and put it down. But there's no momentum there. It's simply, you know, grip it and rip it.
Yep.
On a lift like the dumbbell high pull, which is more of a momentum lift, I kind of feel like, because you're kind of giving that good jerk to pull it up. But then I pause at the top. So at what point do you realize you're at your end where versus taking more momentum? Does that make sense?
Yeah, so high pulls are all about acceleration. They're an explosive movement, right? So when you feel that acceleration dying off and you're not getting the height and the speed and your form's starting to deteriorate, that's kind of like you're basically not completing the rep at that point. So
Okay.
that's when you know you've hit.
So don't throw more momentum. Keep the momentum consistent.
It's not really
And
momentum. It's don't think about it as momentum, think about it as acceleration.
okay.
Because the way it's starting from a dead stop, momentum would be you're swinging it and then you're accelerating it. So this is
Okay.
power, right? High pulls are a good power movement because you're starting from a dead stop and creating speed out of that. You can't
Okay.
have speed without power. So once that speed dies, you're losing the power and the effectiveness of the high pull.
Okay. Makes sense.
Yep.
Thank you.
Are there any other questions in the video chat? Because we can get right into the form checks.
All right, going once.
Run it.
All right, here we go. Everybody see? Sorry.
Yeah, I wasn't sure what we were talking about in the screen sharing in the group chat when you guys were trying to explain that.
Well, we will figure out what we did right or wrong tomorrow. But Nick, so I'm guessing that they are wanting you, if you show anything like with your body, I'll take it off screen share. If you're just gonna coach them through talking, there's no need for me to take it off. So just tell me if you would like a full view so you can
Yeah.
point things out. So just let
I
me
don't
know.
really have them down here in the office, so
Let's get started here.
like I said, I like to use someone who did something well as like a reference point. Okay. These are good. A little folding at the bottom, a little bit, but I'm being picky. But overall, your front squats look great. Be sure to have a physical input on the bar on the way up with your elbows. Think as everything up, including your elbows, and that could help mitigate that slight fold at the bottom. And it's something you'll see on, this is a question, you know, with effort. When you get to higher effort on front squats, you're going to see that fold. The fold is going to be the first thing that goes normally, and sometimes it's just unavoidable. You're giving it everything you got. So you run out of gas, you run out of gas. But this was a great set. I'm happy with this. Just there was a slight turn of the bar on that first rep of it rolling forward. So keep that input to the bar nice and strong. Next. Okay, so we went a couple things. So the range of motion's good. I just want to emphasize there's flexion, a little more flexion than I'd like in that lower lumbar if you look at below his belt. And he's not finishing the rep. See how he's still, he's not coming all the way through. And that's a big part of the top end of the deadlift is that glute squeeze at the top. So he picked it in kind of like a stiff leg deadlift motion. So, but going over his overall, I'd like to, if that's how you're picking up your RDLs, I'd like for you to submit a full deadlift video. But on these, we need to get your hips to come all the way through. Your hips should accelerate from point A to point B. And how you do that is when you push your glutes back, you know, we've heard the cue, pushing the door shut behind you, reaching, your toes should be light. Your heels should be very much loaded on these. And feeling that stretch reflex happen down through your hamstring. Sometimes if you push far enough, you can feel it all the way into your calf. But what you want to do is you want to accelerate by squeezing your butt. Think about trying to break the bar in half with your hips so you're completely vertical. We don't want to lean back. We want to come back to neutral, head to foot. But we do that by slamming our ass cheeks together and accelerating your hips through. And that's where RDLs make their magic. So he's got super soft glutes, so he's picking it up versus bringing his hips through. So I'm willing to bet he's probably feeling this mostly in his lower back and less in his hips and his glutes and his hamstrings. Not terrible. It's just a different, he needs to get the right things being input. So yeah, that's all I got to say there. I would like to see him. I didn't catch his name. But if you wouldn't mind, send a full deadlift video as well. Because I'd like to start there. So yeah, harden up that lockout. Jose, we need to get your hips coming all the way through. Squeeze the shit out of your butt. Day one in prison. Terrified for your life.
Thank you. I will do that. I will
Yes, sir.
practice that.
Awesome, you're here. Sweet. What do you feel when you're doing those?
Yeah, that's what I submitted because I wasn't sure if I was doing it right because most of the time I see what other people and they say they feel on the glutes, but I was feeling more like on my lower back.
Yeah. Yeah, so it's
Yeah.
because you're not getting them involved. So do you know the Catch wants me to use this because you really like the cue. Do you know the cat cow position where you're on your hands and knees and you arch your back? Or
Yes, I do.
so when you're in that RDL position, I want you to have that. I don't know which one's cat and which one's supposed to be cow, if I'm being completely honest. I don't even know who came up with that because none of that reminds me of a damn cow. Um, but we want that hyperextension. So when we're rounded, we're in flexion, and when we're in line or exaggerated, like arched, we're in hyperextension. So I want you to imagine pushing your belly button to the floor, and what that does is it rotates your hips forward into anterior tilt because right now they're tilted under. So we need to tilt that pelvis forward. So go before you deadlift, before you RDL, I want you to do 10 reps of cat cow. And I want you to focus on what that feels like in your hips and your hamstrings. And I want you to apply that same cue on your RDLs and your deadlifts to get your hips in position. So you have that nice neutral spine, almost exaggerating it into a little bit of hyperextension. You're loaded, so it should prevent you from going into hyperextension. But that cue of turning your hips down and pushing your belly button out with a proud chest should help. That cat cow cue should help get your hips set.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Yes, sir. Appreciate you submitting a video. All right. Amelie, let's see what we're working with this week. A lot of thinking going on. I can tell. This is better. You're getting better. The bar's closer. That's a big one. I want you to drag it up your shins. So your hips are getting a little bit lower as you get into your set. Same thing I just gave Jose, that cat cow position. I want you to push that belly button to the floor and create that anterior pelvic tilt. And that'll take some of that flexion out of that lumbar you've got going on. And what it'll do is it'll force your hips to come up just a little bit. We don't want hips coming up so you're stiff leg deadlifting it, but we want a little higher hip position because that'll suck your knees back and that'll bring the bar in closer. So you're dragging that bar because there's still some bar travel, slight travel around the knees, which means your shoulders, if you look, are slightly behind the bar on a couple of the reps when you get set and you start to pull. So they're in front now. So there's that slight swing out forward. And now you come back down, you're a little bit more in line and your shoulders are over the bar. But a few of the reps, like this one, you're behind the bar. So you're fighting that bar's leverage. So exaggerating that cat cow position, pushing that belly button out, bringing your hips up just a hair will suck your knees back, bring the bar in up against your shins. I tell people this all the time. I got scars on my shins from deadlifts because I know that I'm where I'm supposed to be in bar path if it's scraping my shins. So you're getting incrementally better every single week. So this is really good.
Thank you.
We're getting there. You're getting there.
Okay. It's hard. I keep squatting it and thank you.
It's okay. This is why we do this. You're fixing little by little every week. I don't care how fast. I don't expect you to get it all in one go. This is you're progressing. You're doing great. Andre, some bench presses.
Yeah.
Yes, I
You
like
asked
this.
you asked for this angle.
Yeah, I like this angle. I saw the brace. what do you feel here? Tell me what you
What-
feel as you.
Like a little bit, maybe like around here, shoulders a little, but I feel tension, a lot of tension.
Okay.
And
So
I'm fighting with my butt and my legs.
yeah. So what stands out to me is your legs aren't moving, which means there's some tension down there. Squeeze your butt, and with your legs, I want you to drive up the bench this way, not up in the air.
So like push them out.
Yeah, like you're trying to slide yourself up the bench.
Okay.
With that being said, the one thing it's subtle, but it stands out to me anyway, is watch what your shoulders do at the top of the rep when you finish. What did you see?
They're like locking, maybe.
You're pressing forward and rounding your back, right? So what that means is you're pulling your shoulders off of your lats, right? So the bottom of the bench press is actually our lats are doing a good amount of work. So what I want you to do is think about and do it with me. We're going to bring our shoulders back and down. Think about putting your shoulder blades in your back pocket. So what that does is it essentially sets our shoulders and stacks them on our lats. So when you press and roll your shoulders forward, you're pulling them out of that brace. So finishing a bench press, if you watch my shoulder, doesn't finish here. It finishes here. But if you watch, my shoulders stay intact on my lats because I'm continuing to squeeze with my back.
It's like, boom, like
yeah, you're
down here.
About keeping that chest nice and proud because you have a little bit of arch going on. That's good. We want a little bit of arch. It allows you to keep that back intact. So overall, your bench looks good, man. This is just a fine-tuned cue that could help with what you're feeling in your shoulder. I don't know. Still get that assessment.
Okay, so it's probably like when I go up, I just have to like keep my back stuck to the bench. Right?
Yeah, the biggest mistake people do in bench press that I see that have been benching even for years that never really learned, I don't want to say properly, but learn the ins and outs of the bench is they use a lot of shoulder drive. And that's that movement here. And that means their shoulders are bearing more weight than they should be when it should be their back.
Okay. Cool. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Good job. Next.
And Ben raised his hand. I didn't know if he had a question.
I didn't see it. Go ahead.
Big Ben. Okay. Well.
Disappeared. All right, I'm going to see what you're working with on bench press. Okay, so we are way out front. Your head is past your rack position. So you're pressing, just like your deadlift, you're pressing the weight out away from your face. So what you actually want to do, I would raise your rack height 1 or 2 holes because you're like doing a half rep just to unrack it. That's better than having it too high. Because too high, I've come up underneath of a rack trying to rack it, and your life flashes before your eyes. It's not a fun experience. But you want to slide out. So we're going to start with unracking. So you actually want to roll that bar to the front of the J hook. And then you want to slide your eyes underneath that bar. So you actually unrack and come out with it.
Okay.
So as you come down to your nipple line, you actually drive back up towards your face.
Oh,
You're pushing out away from you, and it's creating a lot of demand of your front delts. So that's limiting how much weight, like if we fix your bar path and how you rack and unrack, I guarantee you we immediately put pounds on your bench press just from those adjustments, not even getting stronger, because that's the difference. That's how much a difference that leverage will be in your bar path. It's like, think if you were standing upright, could you hold the weight easier overhead, or could you hold it better at a 45? What would be harder? Holding it out here, right? So
Yeah.
that's the equivalent of what you're doing, trying to hold a bench press down here versus over your eyes and over your shoulder. So it's just bar path. So again, the checklist is going to be roll the bar forward in the rack, slide your eyes underneath of it, unrack, come out, squeeze with your back, down to your nipple line, drive back up towards your face.
Okay. When the bar, she's down, she's here, but when I lift up, it's more
Yeah, you're
in front
pressing.
of my eyes.
Yeah, the way you're pressing now is basically, if you were standing, it's almost like you're pushing down away from you.
Yeah.
We want to push
Like,
up towards our face.
okay.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. Next one.
I'm going to not share real quick. I think a couple people haven't been able to get in. Okay, there we go. Sorry, guys. I'm not able to see the chat as easily when we're going for it. So I apologize if you had a question and we didn't see it. But let's keep going.
Thank you, Noah.
There's Ben. You raised your hand.
He
I was just trying to
get
say,
in.
yeah, I was just trying to get in to get some attention from Noah. That's all. No question. Thank you.
Amelie, look at this bar path. I want you to pay attention with how he's pressing here. You see how his eyes are kind of where the J cups are, the J hooks? He could even slide out a little bit further. But what I want you to pay attention to is how he's driving that bar back up towards his face from his chest line. That's what we want it to look like. Does that make sense?
Honestly, I don't really see the difference.
So
I understand what you said, but I'm sorry.
Go back to Amelie's video. Sorry, guys. This is one of the most common I see with bench press. This is why I'm spending so much time on it, is because we've got a really, really good like visual contrast right now. So even though the angle's not the same, watch how your bar, you're gonna press out away from your face.
Yeah.
Right? You see how you're coming down on your high chest and you're pressing out towards like your belly button, essentially.
Yeah.
Whereas he is coming down a little bit lower towards his, like the bottom of his chest line or nipple line, and he's driving back up towards his face. So if my arm is my nipple line, you're pressing this way towards the belly button. He's pressing this way towards his face.
Okay.
Yeah.
I understand.
Okay. So go back to the other video.
I'm not good to see on the video, but I understand the principle.
Yeah, it would just be easier. It'd be more prevalent. See how he's like filmed from the side? It's much easier to see it there. Yeah, this is good. I see him brace. I see him descend. This is a good bench press. His shoulders aren't all over the place. I don't really want to tweak too much here because he's very well put together. It looks like he's got good leg tension. I love this. I don't really want to change anything outside of him sliding out of the rack a little bit further so he could get a little bit more towards his face, maybe not come as low down on his belly. But otherwise, this is a great bench press. Good job. Well done. That's a great bent over row. Rowing towards his belly button, not up towards his chest. Yeah, this is great. He has good back tension the entire time. His posture's great. Look, he's slowing down. Look, he knew right there. The next rep, he probably wasn't get Ray. This bounces back to what you were asking. So, again, a row is a powerful movement. So that bar's accelerating up until it hits its top point. So if you watch as he finishes out towards the end here, he could have probably struggled and cheated one more rep out of this. But look at how the speed's slowing down. Now, look, boom. He knew right then and there he was struggling to finish that rep. He knew that he was on the tail end of his effort for the rep being completed versus a shitty rep.
Makes total sense. I see it.
I didn't catch the name, but whoever's Rosies are, you're doing fantastic, man. Ian, great job. No jerk. Great. Let me watch that one more time.
So Nick, this is the max lift I was telling you about in the app where I feel like I'm still jerking it a little bit.
You almost did. You almost did. That little slacky came in and you hit, and then you were just patient for the bar to rise. So to prevent that, I would change how you pull in tension. Instead of coming in, going down, and then letting the slack come out of your arms, I would come in, set your hips, and snap the bar.
Gotcha.
So with both hands, you're trying to snap that bar, and that's going to set your upper back up a little bit better than that. You were just the good news is here is if you weren't strong enough, that what you did in your setup would have pulled you out of position. But the good news is your upper back was strong enough, so it didn't. And that's a really good sign. So you didn't really jerk hard, you almost jerked. But you're conscious of it, you're aware of it. Just that bend right here where you dip down and then you drive, I would just change how you do that. Instead of dipping down, I would pull your hips down in a position and snap the bar when you brace. And that should prevent you from, because when you snap the bar, you got to have your arms straight. Because if you do it like this, it'll just feel weird. Yeah. Otherwise,
Yeah. Everything else look okay? Like hips, shoulder position, everything okay?
Conditioning looked fantastic. This was a great PR, man. So congratulations.
All right. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Way uglier PR.
What do you guys mean when you say you jerk?
So if you were to speed that up and basically double times the speed, if you watch this dip that he has right here, boom, and then he pulls tension out of his arms, if you do that faster, you see a lot of people jerk on the bar thinking they're going to yank it up off the ground. So 9 times out of 10, all that does is it pulls them out of their position when they go to jerk, which is he's done in the past. And he's done a really good job at working on it. And kind of slowing down his setup is what stands out to me. So he doesn't use that dip and jerk on the bar. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Thank you.
Okay, cool. Next video. Hip shot up, pitch forward. Overall, not terrible. It's just a hip position adjustment. I love how you're packing your lats. You have a soft lockout. Your hips aren't coming quite all the way through. So what I want you to think about we're going to start from the top down on your deadlift because I think this is you I see up in the top left quarter of my screen, Derek.
Yep. Hey, Nick.
So what we're going to start this from the top down because you see how you're kind of standing up with it versus your hips advancing. So if you heard what I was talking about Jose with squeezing his butt and accelerating his hips to the bar, we do that by think about pushing the ground away and not standing up with the bar. Think like you're pushing the floor away from underneath the barbell and squeezing your butt as you rise to get your hips to literally slam into that bar. So what that'll do is it'll prevent fast lockout and it'll continue a soft lockout, and it'll continue to accelerate that bar as we go up. Because after you crest your knees, we should see a little bit rise in speed because it's just we're in a much more vertical position, biomechanically advantageous position, if you will. Going down the chain, you're off the floor you've got good power. So off the floor isn't a weak point for you because you pack, you pull, and it just continues to travel at that same linear speed. So same cue for you. When you set your back, I want you to push your belly button to the floor. So that cat-cow thing. So when you have a really good snapping of the bar, I can see you setting your shoulders and your lats engaging. It's a really good example of that. So when you do that, I want you to push your chest out and push your belly button to the floor. And that will see a little bit better of a neutral spine in your starting position. So you won't have that I don't want to say shakiness off the floor. You won't have that necessarily rocking effect because I think it'll set your hips up a little bit better.
Now, I'm always afraid if your, let's say, chest is a little bit higher, my hips might go down more.
No, we're not bringing our chest up. So
Okay.
when you snap the bar, you're just pushing your chest out.
Okay.
So what that does is it sets our midsection. So basically, if you look in the center of your back as you're bent over, we want to basically flatten that out some so we can recruit more erector support out of the hole because your erectors are strong. See how your upper back's still rounded? That's not catastrophic. That's okay. You see that in a lot of high level pullers. But what I want you to do is I want you to set that in the beginning so you're in a little bit better of a position for your hips to advance. We're not bringing your chest up. We're pushing your chest to the bar.
Okay.
What it actually does is it allows you to get a little bit more out of your arm length. So we're not bringing our scapula back. We're bringing them down just like you did, but we're neutralizing that back by turning that pelvis down with that anterior tilt in that cat-cow position, right? So your hips, and when you do that, when you shift those hips, you should feel it pull into your hamstrings. You should feel it. You should feel a slight stretch down in your hamstrings when your hips rotate.
Okay.
Does that make
Okay, very
sense?
good. Yeah, absolutely. Thank you, Nick.
Please submit a deadlift video next week. Your pull overall is like 85% there. We're just fine tuning things.
Yeah, appreciate it, man.
And then April, did you have a question? Saw
I
you
think
raise
April
your
got
hand. Oh, she got
she needs
kicked
to be let
out.
back in. Yes.
Oh, tragic.
It is tragic. She's the mascot of the entire pump club.
Right. 1 second. April. There you go. Sorry about that. All right. Moving on.
Thank you, Noah.
Yep, no worries.
Dumbbell incline. This is a really tough angle. I can't see bar path. We got some soft locking out. But you're all over the place because we're not. So the thing that stands out is when someone is shaky like this, Now I don't know if you've got something going on with your elbows, some sort of injury that doesn't prevent you from.
I was the one who posted last week about my shoulder because my left elbow doesn't straighten.
Got it. See, that's why I led with that. I don't know.
Yeah. And I'm sorry about the angle. There was nowhere else I could put the phone at that particular time.
No worries. So just the side angle gives me a little bit more information is all.
Yeah.
But what this
I'll
is
film something more before the next form check and post that.
Okay.
For next week.
So what this angle's telling
My
me,
push-ups look even worse than that. So I've still got a way to go.
yeah, that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. This front angle, what I'm seeing is your midsection's all over the place. So what that means is we're not setting our back, we're not racing as hard as we could be. And you see how our legs are kind of swaying back and forth. We want to squeeze our butt. You probably heard me say it on other bench presses. So when you press or you get these dumbbells up, I want you to retract with your upper back. Think about, you hear me say it a million times, putting your shoulder blades in your back pocket. And that will help mitigate some of that shakiness and instability because we're now recruiting our whole body to kind of anchor our press to that bench. And that should help you with that instability coming out of the hole, finishing to the lockout. You've got great speed. It's not a weight issue. I think it's just a lack of recruitment from the rest of your body. And that'll only make this weight feel easier. The side, what I want to see is it'll give me more insight to what I think is going on. And two, it'll give me a little bit better insight on your bar path of where you're pressing these dumbbells. But what I do love about it is you have a nice eccentric, you're in control. That's why I don't think this is a weight issue. I think this is just a matter of knowing how to brace and recruit your entire body. You got great acceleration. So you're strong. We just need to get you moving in unison.
Yeah, I appreciate that. That's actually very actionable feedback. Thank you.
I wouldn't be doing my job if I gave you a bunch of information you couldn't use.
And it might be my eyes, but are you using two different size dumbbells? Or are those the same?
No, they are two different weights.
Okay.
10 kilos and 5 kilos. And that's because the left arm is the one I had surgery on after the first surgeon made a mess of it.
I'm sorry about that.
I mean, it is what it is. Now I just gotta recover. It's just frustrating going from, doing over 100 push-ups a day and sort of carrying people weighing like 85, 90 kilos to what that looks like now.
Are you seeing a sports doc or anything for any like rehab work?
Yeah, but I've completed my rehab work ages ago.
Okay.
The injury, the original injury was in 2021. And essentially as a result of how that first surgeon decided to treat my injury, I basically smashed the head of one of my lower, one of the bones in my lower arm.
Okay.
Like I smashed it into 13 pieces. No nerve damage, no blood vessel damage, no muscle damage, just completely destroyed the end of that bone. And
it'd be worth reigniting a consult with a sports PT because there might be stuff now down the road that they could also improve by getting some hands-on work on you, either loosening things up, scar tissue, things like that I can't do from.
Well, I had a physiotherapist and a group of doctors deal with it when I finally got it repaired.
Mm-hmm.
But after, so this was in early 2023. So I spent a year rehabbing. half of that being on a training ban. And I sort of really started training properly again about 6 months ago.
Yeah, which is why I think a sports PT would really come in handy. I think
Yeah.
it's a little bit of fuel to the fire for you, as far as how you move, and being able to correct some potential issues that are lingering from the surgery.
Yeah,
Preventative maintenance.
sure. I'll see what I can find. The gym I'm a member of right now used to have personal trainers,
Not a
but they stopped doing that.
Not a personal trainer. I'm talking about a sports physical therapist.
Yeah. But I mean, I'm in a country I've never been in before. Like, I'm sure there are lots of sports therapists. I just have to find one.
What country are you in?
Iceland,
Okay.
the home of Hafthor.
Yeah. Let me I have friends in Iceland. Let me see who I can find. Have what I want you to do is write a service ticket to Catch to connect you with me personally.
Okay,
And I
that
will
would be awesome.
talk with some of my strongman friends. What I'll need from you is where you're at in Iceland, because I'm not familiar with ins and outs of Iceland, but I know people who are, that live there, that train and compete professionally in strongman, that see sports PTs. So odds are I could probably get you. I know it's not a big place.
Yeah,
We could probably
but
find you someone who's equipped to help.
that would be awesome. That would be amazing.
Yes. So in the app, reach out to Catch with a service ticket that I sent you to connect with me, and let's see if we can get you some help for that post-op rehab and preventive maintenance to see if we can really kind of get you firing on all cylinders again.
Yeah, that would be awesome. Thank you so much.
Yes, ma'am.
No problem. Well, I'm walking to work here, so yeah, I don't want to take up any more of your time there. Thank you so much. I'll send that ticket.
Cool. All right, let's see it. Okay. These are good. I've got no problem with these. I would like to see a little bit more acceleration of the hits coming through, and a nice hard lockout. So you're nice and vertical, and basically think about squeezing your butt to the point where you're like smashing your hips up against the bar. So like you're using that bar to squeeze your butt into, and that'll really emphasize, that finishing touch on the RDL. And it's like physical feedback. Okay, I'm clenching my butt. Next. How do you keep track of? I did the old strap trick. It looks like. Oh no, maybe his hands are on the bar. I can't tell. Plate's in the way. Your position's great. Brace is good. Upper back stays tight. I would control your descent just a little bit more, not slow it down completely, just a little bit more, because your early reps, you kind of pushed out of your groove forward. And that's very common with people who have a very fast descent, because you can lose some tension at the bottom out of that rebound, that want to rebound out of the hole. That one, you see how you kind of pitch forward just a little bit?
Yeah, I did there. Yeah.
So slow your descent down by like using time's kind of irrelevant. Like, I mean, a fraction of a second slower. Like, if it takes you, a second and a half, 2 whole seconds to get down there, that's usually a pretty normal pace and maintaining the tension before it becomes like an eccentric tempo. Slow it down just a little bit, and I think that will alleviate that issue of you kind of getting a little too squirrely in the bottom there. But otherwise, your front squat, great. I think he cut out there. Next one.
Yeah, that looks good. Yeah, I am using the straps there. That's sorry.
It's a good little trick.
I don't know if you guys can hear me now.
It's kind of like a robot. Get your Wi-Fi router out of the trash can, dog. Your front squat looks good, man. Just slow down the descent. Those are the main takeaways. This is totally an acceptable option. This is a steep angle. I remember I saw a thing about a gentleman with an ankle surgery, and he uses this platform. I think this might be him. I can't remember the name.
Yeah.
But this is totally okay. If there's some sort of mobility issue, this is like the incline I'd use for like a hack squat. But when you have a mobility issue, these elevating the heels to this manner to be able to allow you to get into position is totally, this is what we'd call an adjustment. And this is totally fine. You're doing everything you need to do. I have no problem with this. Your posture is great. Your range of motion is fantastic. Good call on the adjustment. So I don't want to have you change that at all. I like how these look. Nice. All right. You see how those knees collapse? I would say bring your feet in, I don't know, an inch or two on either side. Get them a little bit more underneath your shoulders. So those knees collapsing is typically could be, adductor, a couple of things. It could be a quote unquote weakness, but I think it's your body trying to get in line to create power. So I'd bring your feet in just a little bit and actively drive your knees outward over your pinky toes, both when you descend, especially when you drive back up. I like your posture. From the waist up, everything looks great. Let's narrow those feet up a little bit. I would also squat in shoes that are firmer. Anything spongy on a squat or a deadlift kind of counters the stability we're trying to gain. And I can see those shoes kind of squirming around. So, barefoot socks, Vans, something hard soled, it doesn't matter. Lifters, but anything other than those dish sponges you have on your feet would make the stability factor a little bit easier. Yeah, bring your feet in about an inch or two, get them a little bit more under your shoulders, and I think that and drive those knees out, and I think that could fix that problem. But otherwise, great front squat, man. Next. Okay, so just like a NutriGrip dumbbell deadlift. These are a little bit different for posture because of the range of motion, and it depends on your. So you're not going to hear me harp on her lumbar or back position because you've kind of got to reach to get down there. These look about as good as they can get, in my opinion. I mean, she could bring her chest up throughout the rep a little bit better, create a little bit more back tension. I think for a lot of people, I think what would be make these a little bit more manageable for carryover form when you eventually do an actual deadlift or trap bar deadlift is setting these dumbbells on some plates or something that elevates them, 4 to 6 inches to allow you to maintain that posture that we're going to look for and that structure we're going to need in a regular deadlift. Because like I said, anybody who's picked up anything off the floor, you kind of got to get bent over just to reach because anatomy, right? These are great. I'd like to see a little bit more upper back tension. That's really about it. And try elevating the dumbbells a little bit and see how that looks. I don't know what weight you're using, but I think you should try your hand at using an actual bar of some sort. An empty bar is 45 pounds. I think you're ready to move on up.
The bar is my next investment. I'm getting there.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I think you're ready. I think doing these with dumbbells is kind of holding you up on progress.
Okay. So this video, this is kind of back to my original question at the start of the Zoom. So I'm tightening my core, I'm squeezing my tush, and with my elbows, is it good to be going so low and then locking up? I was doing this based on the tips for the move.
Does it hurt going that low?
No.
Then you're fine.
Okay.
That's deeper than most can go. Is it necessary? No, but I think having, a long muscle is a strong muscle. And if you're not getting any pain, it's totally fine. I would say instead of being so far up here where your elbows are kind of protruding toward your ears, bring them down, just bring them in a
Okay.
little bit. So you're much more in a natural gait of a bar path. I think you're stronger than you think, honestly. The weights you're doing and how you're moving them, I think you could send it a little harder.
Okay.
This looks easy. The form's great. Just add more weight.
Okay, so taking the elbow above parallel, is that the right word? Above my back. So that's the goal. I'm squeezing, and I'm really squeezing my shoulder blades here.
Yeah, and
Okay.
And as you get heavier, the dumbbells are going to get bigger in diameter, and you're going to have to row a little bit more towards your belly button, and the diameter
Okay.
of the bell might impact on how far you're able to get back that elbow. But whether your elbow goes further up than your back or is level with your back isn't going to make too much of a difference.
Gotcha. Okay.
You've got the right contraction. You're bracing. You've got all the right foundational parts.
Okay. Thank you.
You just need to add some weight, lady.
Will do, sir.
Buried it. I mean, hamstring to calf. You won't hear me say this too often. You're going a little too deep. The reason being is if you look at the bottom, your hips completely curl over, your chest crunches down. So, yeah, I mean, I can count on one hand how many times I've told people they've gone too deep. And you're one of them, which is a great sign of your mobility and your strength in that position. I think if you come up just even an inch, it'll keep you in a little bit better of a position. You see how your heels get light, and then as you press, you roll back onto your heels. So that's what I'm gauging this off of, is right about there is where you can stop. No, if you can try and pause it. I was reaching for my mouse pad like I have any fucking control. A little bit lower, a little bit higher. Keep going, keep going, keep going, keep going. And there. That's where your weight's back on your heels. That's where our depth needs to stop. Because as soon as you broke that plane, your heels picked up a little bit and your feet rolled in. So this is where we want your depth to be. You're well below parallel. Your knee to hip line is fine. That is a full range of motion squat. That's where I'd like you to live with your depth from now on. Now you can implement a box as a physical cue. I've even used a band and put the arms at the bottom. And when I felt that band touch my butt that I strung across, it gave me a physical cue. I'm at depth. So yeah, let's make that the bottom of your squat moving forward. Otherwise, great job, man. Next. Where did my dog go? Right away, your hips rolled up. So, yep, so moving forward, no more touch and go. Because your start position is your biggest enemy right now. So hips come up, now you're forward and out of position. So there is what we want your starting position to be. Where you ended up on your second rep is where we want to start. Same cue that I've given a few other times today, that cat-cow position. Push that belly button out, rotate those hips around, and feel that stretch in the starting position a little bit in your hamstrings. But yeah, that your gravity put you where you needed to be right here. That's where you want to start your deadlift. Next. Same thing. Yep, same cues. So move your pins a little bit lower so you can get full range of motion without colliding with the pins and it bounces you a little weird. Your rack. So how you start, I would bring your rack down a notch because you have to bring your upper back out of position. Lee, remember how I was telling you your rack's too low? This is what a rack looks like when it's slightly high. He has to get out of position to unrack the bar. And when, say, you hit a near failure set, you're going to be fighting for your life to get it back in the rack. With that being said, when you come out, I want you to stop, pause, and regain tension because you came out and just dropped right into it and you never really set your tension back. I'd also bring your hands out 2 finger widths because your fists are really far inside your elbows, it looks like at the bottom. We want you more at that 90 degree at the bottom and pressing out. So I can't really see your bar path from here. But the main thing is, setting your upper back, bringing in tension. You've heard me say and refer to the cues earlier with retracting that upper back and getting in a position, especially before you start your first rep. Next. There's got some weight on the bar. So you got the right idea. I love how you set your back, you pack your lats, you get mostly like 90% in a position, but we never set our hips. And if you look at the start of your reps, you have that little hip rise and it brings your shoulders bit out past the bar slightly. So you're not really getting into your groove off the floor. But it's good that you're not touching and going because we can see this on every rep. We know it's consistent. We know it's there. We know it's happening. So again, that cue of setting that lumbar, neutralizing that spine, and kind of kicking your hips around so it pushes your belly button out. You know, to feel the physical cue, get on your hands and knees. This worked. The reason why I'm harping on this is it worked really well for catch because it gives you physical feedback. Getting on your hands and knees and doing that cat-cow position. And when you apply that same input in your deadlift position, you'll feel it pull in your hamstrings a little bit. We want that hamstring tension. If we have that hamstring tension, our hips are in position, they're not going to shoot up and pitch us forward. So that's really it. The rest of your pull looks great, man. We just need to get those hips set and that lumbar. Next. Too wide. Yeah, I think you're a little wide. But from the front, everything looks good. It looks like you're keeping a proud chest. You're keeping your back pretty much together. I dropped that chin instead of looking up the sky. Make it like you're trying to make a double chin. Because it creates a neutral spine from C-spine to lumbar. So overall, that looks pretty good, man. I just bring your feet in a little bit so you don't have to fight around your legs. Next. Hey, bro, these are getting so much better.
You're a bit more stable.
Yeah. We just need to get a little bit more depth.
Yep,
Just
bit lower.
You're flirting with parallel. You're flirting. You're kissing it. You're teasing it.
Well, I'm kind of known for. No, I'm just kidding.
You're right there. But
Yeah.
again, same
The next
you
one.
have these weekly progressions that are getting incrementally better. So I love seeing this. You're right there. You're right.
Well, I'm really squeezing my shoulders. I want you to know that. And I did roll the bar back a little bit more, like you said. But the next view, I think you can really see sometimes I'm still a little off on my left hip versus right hip, but it's more stable. It's definitely more stable.
I'm not so much worried about fixing that as getting it depth, then fixing that. Because that's going to be a much more hip shift is a little bit more of a long-term progression than just basic squat form. Because it's usually implementing some sort of weakness, injury, something that will take a while to fix. Yeah, you're right there on depth, man.
Right. First stay with the belt
because you're more stable.
Yeah. Thank
There
you.
you go. Good job. Keep working out. Let's get you a little bit lower.
Yes, sir.
Your deadlift looks good.
Yeah, that's at 215, and I just need a little bit more cow. I think I maybe a little bit flatter in that hip area, based on what you said today.
You said it. I didn't even have to cue. You know what you're looking at.
Great.
That's the ultimate coach win. When they can look at their video and go, I need to do X, Y, and Z.
Yeah, I was happy. Thank you so much, guy. I mean, the form checks from you and Janet are amazing. Thanks.
You also, one more thing. Tell me what you notice. It's at the top of your deadlift.
My hips aren't shooting through like they could be.
Bingo. Atta girl.
Yeah, I just need to pull that bar a little bit more towards me and hit that hip. Yep.
Yes. Squeeze your butt.
Thank you. Okay. Just like the first day in prison. Got it.
Exactly. Well, your prison's a little different. I don't know if you have that same problem.
But I can't speak because there's too many people here. Okay, bye.
First day in prison. That's hilarious.
It really is. But yeah, no, I think anyway, I'm not going to do it. Goodbye. But I love the dog. Wait, what's the dog's name?
His name's Hank.
G'day,
He's,
Hank.
He's boxer, shepherd, and I think a little Akita.
Yeah, well, listen, don't give him any fleas, okay?
I try my best.
All right. Thanks so much, Nick.
Yes, ma'am. He's got the lifters on. It means business.
Hell yeah.
So I wouldn't get as close to the box because what it's causing you to do is you have a little bit slight drive as you get close to the box because I think it's out of anticipation.
Mm-hmm.
I'd rather it be a little bit away and you kind of reach for it just a little bit.
Okay.
And when it comes to box, I want people to realize when you're using it for depth, I don't want you bouncing off of it. Ray's doing a pretty good job of just kind of touching it and then reigniting his drive up. I'd push that box about another inch behind you.
Okay.
So you don't get that forward travel at the bottom, whether it be out of a muscle habit or memory or anticipating that box. But other than that, your front squat from the hip up looks fantastic.
This has been hugely helpful. A few months ago, I couldn't even do that with my fingers on the bar, and there's not a lot of weight there. I'm starting to work on building that back up by the depth, and I feel like right now my weight is more limited by my flexibility than my strength on this lift. So I'm just, and that's not my highest weight. I went up higher than that for a future set, but so I'm working my way up. It's just progressive.
Get your hips back just a little bit so you're reaching a little bit more, not coming down right on top of your heels or on top of your calves, but more so your heels. I think that'll be a little bit better.
Okay, good. Thank you.
Good work, man.
Thanks.
Jerk. Yep, called it. All right.
Jerk, dude. That's mean.
So no more touch and goes. You're not even touching, I don't think. You're hovering. So that jerk on the first rep, we want to completely eliminate that. So start it over. Because every rep now, you're in position. Your position looks fantastic. You're just not going all the way down. But this, So what that did, so again, from the top, your position is great from that after that point. So from the beginning again, Noah. So when he jerks on this bar, someone was asking about what they meant by jerk. This is 101 prime example. So it kind of pulled him forward and his hips rose a little bit. Then after he settled in and got in his bar path, everything looks composed and how it's supposed to look. He has a good deadlift form. I am okay with this. We need to fix the start. If we do every rep from a dead stop without a jerk, I think that will benefit you tremendously because we want to go all the way down. We don't want to stop just shy. Dead stop every single rep. Brace, up, down. Brace, up, down. No jerk. That's the main thing for this. Otherwise, your deadlift form looks great with this trap bar, man. We just need to fix that monstrosity at the beginning. because I don't want you to hurt yourself. Next. So he's got conventional deadlift posture on a trap bar. So go back to the beginning. Strong pull. His back was together. He's got a strong, man, you've got a strong back. That's the silver lining of this. But if you look, that bar is where it would be on an actual deadlift, like conventional pull. You can see it in front of his legs. So he managed to somehow make his trap bar pulls conventional for the first half of the pull, which is a really good indicator of back strength. So there is variances in form between trap bar and conventional because of where the handles are. I want you to bring those handles back, and I want your thumbs to come up the side of your leg. So if you hit play, you'll see where his deadlift, you'll watch the bar come back. And now it's in position. Did you see that shift from out front to center line? So that was his body naturally bringing that bar back from being out front. So we want to start in that line. So thumbs think like come up the outside of your knee versus out in front, and your butt's going to be able to get a little bit lower. And with the trap bar, your leg drive can start sooner because of the nature of the implement. So that is the main takeaway from this. Otherwise, your brace, I could see you bracing. You have a strong back. Shit, I'd even say try conventional with how you're pulling. But if you want to stick with the trap bar, bring that bar in closer so the thumbs come up the sides of your knees, versus out front.
All right, cool. Will do. Thank you. That's just me being ignorant there, because I literally, when I walk up, I imagine the bar's right in front of my legs. That's where I'm putting it, because that's what I did on the traditional bar. So,
yep. So you have your experience is mainly on a conventional pull.
well, I've been deadlifting for 9 months, and 3 of that's been on a traditional bar, 6 on the trap.
Okay, so you're starting.
I'm a baby.
You're starting this off like a conventional pull, which of all the things that could be wrong, it's not a bad thing. It's just like you said, the ignorance of the differences in how the pulley implement. So yeah, just bring that bar in. You see how it's swinging back.
Yeah.
One thing you could do with an empty bar or like 10-pound plates is start at the top and do an eccentric and let gravity set you in line, and then watch the video and see where your bar lands.
Got it. Thanks.
Yes, sir. If I remember correctly, this guy's got a really pretty deadlift. Oh, we're rowing. Curveball. But the fact that he picked that up with great deadlift form, I want it to be known. This is the way. So your row, it's not bad. I'd like to get you. I want to watch one more time before I talk out of my ass. You kind of work your way up. You kind of get a little bit more upright at the end of each pull. So maybe it's a little heavy. Because you're changing the plane of your pull to make it more of a compensate for the weight. So just drop weight a little bit, and how you started your first rep was great. The first rep was fantastic. That I'm okay with. So just keep doing that, drop the weight, and try and maintain that setup for the rest of the set. Next. Nick, don't call me sir as an NCO. You got it, Sarge.
Better.
Okay, so much higher effort on from him. I'm seeing before it was basically I told him to go heavier, and this is good. This is what I wanted. I wanted to see where I wanted him to get to a weight where I could see some things breaking down. So this is really he followed instruction very well. Yeah, shit's getting heavy. Yep. First thing goes the brace. Yep. Okay, good. So if you compare your lighter pulls to what we're doing now, your lighter pulls that were very pretty, very intact. So what I want you to notice now is when you start to struggle, the first thing that happens is your hips curl under and your brace collapses and that lumbar pushes out first. So you braced, you braced, but you didn't set that upper back. So we didn't connect the chain. So what was left was the middle bearing the load versus setting the upper back and getting everything in line like you do with your lighter pulls. So I really want you to snap that bar, pack your lats, and you didn't even set your lumbar. You didn't even set your hips on that last one. So this is what happens when things get heavy. I call it getting potato brained. We forget things when things get heavy. You never want to go full potato unless it's game day, then it's allowed. So we just need to connect everything. I want you to, that cat cow cue you've heard me giving all day, to set that lumbar, rotate those hips around so we get that glute tension, that hamstring tension. Snapping the bar and pushing that chest out towards the bar is going to set that upper back, packing those lats. We need to connect the back of your head to your heels is basically what that's doing. It's the posterior chain. If there's one part that's not connected, it goes to shit because that's just how it works. It's a chain. So I'd back off to something a little bit more moderate for this rep range so that it does stay intact and we work in that realm of perfection with that effort still high with those cues. Next. This is good because this gave me something to actually see where the breakdowns were in his deadlift, because before it was just so light. His form was beautiful, but we need to see what went wrong first. So that was good. Yeah. Grinder. Some max effort pulls here. I love it. She's got the right idea. See, she goes to set and then she pulls and her hips come down and come under. So she's got the right idea. It's just a matter of the input. That was some high effort pulls. I loved it. You're strong. We just need to get your body to get with the program. So this position's great there. And then you brace, and then you pull. And the first thing that happens is you kind of kick your hip, you drop your hips to kind of cheat your hips in towards the bar. And it's actually setting it like that. That was a big one. It's making it harder to break that bar because you've lost that tension in your hamstrings. Bip, hips curl under. So we want to maintain that hip position and initiate your pull not by trying to rise at the chest because it's causing you to cave, but by pushing the floor away from the bar and letting the legs get it off the ground. Because how the chain of events that happen in a deadlift is your leg drive is what gets it moving. Your back is holding and supporting, and your core. So everything from the hips up is bearing above the hips, is bearing the weight up until you get to at or above the knee. So now the glutes kick in and now your upper body's going to work. So up until then, everything needs to be able to just bear and sustain the weight so your legs can get it moving So above the hips can come through and finish. And that's the nutshell sequence of a deadlift. So you're trying to cheat your hips and get your glutes in sooner. And what has happened is it's putting you in a bad position to lock out because you're already through versus allowing your glutes to advance and stay in position from the hips up. So we need to work on, I would say, drop a little bit of weight, and keep that effort high within the realm of perfection. Again, I can't emphasize this enough. I love the effort here. I love seeing someone just sell out for a set. It never gets old. You're strong. We just need to get you together, much like the last gentleman. We see what's breaking down when the effort's high, and we need to keep you in that neutral spine position to allow your leg drive to do the work without your hips trying to come through too early and compromising that lumbar. So same thing, cat-cow position. Feel that stretch in the hamstring right before you pull. When you brace, snap the bar so your back gets set, proud chest, and push the ground away and be patient. Next. So you see how your shoulders are in front of your chin? It means your upper back's not set like you would on any other deadlift form. So we want to keep that upper back contracted and together. Yes, thank you. That was literally the next words that were going to come out of my mouth, bro. I wish I could see this from the side. Everything else is great. I think you could push your hips back a little bit further and not go as deep and get a little bit more stretch out of the hamstring and the glute. But otherwise, overall, like, I'm happy with this form. I just want to see you keep that upper back intact and potentially push the hips out a little bit more and sacrifice that couple inches on the bottom of range of motion. Great job, man. You move well. To have that, I don't know how old you are, but judging by the white beard, your mobility is pretty damn impressive. I don't move that well, and I'm 32, and I'm sure you're older than me. Next. Smith machine's always tricky, because it sets you in a fixed bar path. But if it's what you're working with, it's what you're working with. I would like a little less of a leg input, and it might require you to kind of take a little bit. This is the tricky part with the Smith machine, is because the bar, it's going to look a little different because of how the bar moves. So anyone who's doing this with a free weight, I don't really want you to kind of in ear one out the other, because there are variances here. I want you to bring your feet back just a little bit so we can get more of a hinge because of the Smith machine being the Smith machine, and you get more butt back without the leg input as much. So we want the glutes and the hamstrings doing a little bit more. I'm okay with your range of motion. Your posture is great. Can we take a minute and acknowledge her arms are jacked? Overall, this is good. I like how your chin's not pinned up. you remain pretty neutral. You're good at these. I just think we need to bring your feet a little bit back due to the Smith machine being the Smith machine, so you can get a little bit more out of the RDL. Great job. Take a half step out, slow down the descent a little bit. But otherwise, these are great. I love your posture. I think you getting a little bit further away from the bench will open up the range of motion a little bit better. Yeah, it should allow you to get a little bit deeper if you come out with that front foot, a half foot length or foot length. Play with it. But let's try and get a little bit deeper. Bulgarian split squats never get fun. They always suck. It's the one movement that no matter how long you lift, they always fuck your shit up. They always do. I don't know what about them.
Nick,
But great.
to get like hip flexor stretch more in these than in a regular lunge. Is that the purpose of a Bulgarian?
Yeah, and it's a unilateral movement, so it really hammers the quad because you don't really get any rear foot input. So it opens up more range of motion than you potentially could get on a lunge. And yeah, you do get, if you keep your hips kind of pushed out forward and stay vertically upright, you will feel a stretch.
Yeah, that's what I'm feeling. Okay, good.
But the main takeaway is to basically put that front leg quad through hell. Next. Oh boy.
Surprise.
Surprise, surprise.
This is already always.
Good. Look at that eccentric. So Noah, my immediate thing for you on a push press versus strict press, there's going to be a difference in rack position and where the bar is slightly in your hands. So where you have it now, you see how far back your wrists and hands are?
Yes.
So you want that bar. Can you see my hand?
Yeah.
So you want that bar on a strict press pattern. You want it more here. See how it's directly over my forearm?
Uh-huh.
So how you have it here, which is fine when you're using leg drive and you're throwing and catching, and it ends up settling there. So you have it pinned back so that it adds a little bit of like a suspension to it. We want that in the meat of our palm. I don't care if you false grip it. For anyone asking, false gripping is like this. When I strict press, I actually false grip. Because it allows me to
bar.
Yeah, it allows me to put that bar directly over my forearm. So my input is immediate. But one thing with overhead pressing, he's doing what I call opening the window and putting his head through on some of these reps. So there's some nuances to pressing. So on a push press or a push jerk, you see people fire through immediately. And the mechanics of that requires it. On a strict press, being back like this allows you to recruit a little bit more out of your back and your upper chest and your front delts on the strict press. So there's some nuances depending on the type of press you're doing. But a couple of these, boom, he puts his head through, he pushes it to the back of his head. When people are first learning overhead press, I always coach it this way because it carries over to other press variations much better. It's easier to teach this and then back them off and change them for a strict press.
So you think I should lean more forward and like kind of be over myself a little bit more than like, you know what I mean? Like turn my wrist forward and kind of be like more upright with my.
With strict pressing, yes, you should be a little bit more here with your forearm, and your bar path is good. Your bar path is straight. That's good. On a strict press, this is great. I just want you to change where the bar is in your hand a little bit more for now. I don't want to change too much with you. because we're making progress.
Yep. All right, sweet. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Sorry to derail, guys. Sorry you had to see my nipples too.
Put them pets away, dog.
My day is complete.
I have to go open a window. Good Lord.
Gonna go put them in the wank bank, mate.
I don't know what that was, but well done.
He's trying to be Aussie.
Trying.
Yeah,
And
yeah, it's not working.
Oh, it's like you trying to sound American. It sounds almost right.
Jeez, boy, I get it from all angles.
These are great. I love how he elevated them this time. I want you to sink your hips a little bit more, and create that tension in the upper back. But overall, this looks better, if I'm not mistaken, than the last time. You're not as compressed and folded over because of the requirement of the range of motion. So this is good progress. I'm a little bit happier with these for sure. Sink your hips a little bit more, which will allow you to bring your chest up a little bit better and put your upper back in a better leverage position. But good adjustments so far, man. Nice job. These are basically deficit deadlifts when you do them this way. That's really the best way to explain it. Great. Look at that. And accelerate, squeeze. Good. Your RDLs are fantastic. Next. Great. I have nothing to give him on that. Those are great.
I'm still listening.
What was that?
This is Jose. I was saying that I'm still listening. So I saw exactly what you're looking for.
Okay, great. Cool. So before is this person in the Zoom call?
I am.
Okay.
I
So
can't get deep
where
enough.
you started with push-ups. So I have some context of where you are now because I don't want to rip you to shreds when you've made a ton of progress. You know what I mean?
It's okay. It's taken me a long time just to get here.
Okay, so this is great then. How long and how many push-ups? How long ago did you start doing push-ups?
I actually avoided them until I joined the pump club like a month and a half ago.
Okay. So a month and a half ago, how many push-ups could you do?
Maybe 3 on my knees.
Okay, so this is why with push-ups, I always like to clarify what the starting point was, because if I see a dude that's been doing push-ups for, years and they do these, I'm going 0, 0, 0, 0. Retest, try again. Military joke.
Positioning just never feels right.
Yes. So there's a couple of different ways you can put your hands, right? The wider you go, the more chest you get. So what we're looking for, I'm just going to say this, in an ideal push-up is your shoulders break your elbow plane, right? Or if you really want to get fancy, your chest goes to the floor. It's hard to tell, but the fact that a month and a half ago you could do 3 and you were doing them on your knees, and you're like 80% of the way there on real push-ups I want to lead off with saying that's a tremendous amount of progress. I want to congratulate you.
Thank you.
You're doing things right. This is great. Be proud of this. One thing we can do, so what are your rep ranges that they're calling for?
Well, this is just on the warm-up.
Okay.
So it's three sets of 10.
Are push-ups something like a goal of yours to progress to do a certain way, a certain amount?
I just want to feel confident in a push-up and to be able to do a pull-up. That's my long-term goals. The rest is just a bonus.
Okay. So after the workout, I want you to do push-ups again. But I want
Okay.
I want you to add in eccentrics. all the way down to the
So
floor.
like do negatives?
Yeah, so 1 1,000, 2 1,000, 3 1,000, 4 1,000, 5 1,000. And if you can press up, awesome. If not, don't care. But I want you to do 10 of those, or try to get 10 of those as a goal. So like 5 count eccentrics. So we're gonna start with regular, we're gonna finish with these eccentrics, and eccentrics can build so many good things foundationally. Ask Noah. He's been doing eccentrics for the last 2-3 weeks, and he probably hates me at this point, but they're necessary. Pull-ups, push-ups, eccentrics are great for progressing them. So I want you to start throwing them in at the end of the workout, and I want to see videos.
Okay. Should I change the position of my, like, should my arms come more forward or go more back? I just feel like sometimes my elbows go in and sometimes they go out.
It's hard to tell from here.
Okay.
If next week you want to record the push-ups, some from the side again and some from the front, that would be great. So then I can see kind of mechanically. It looks like your elbows are kind of coming like this, which on a bench press, as we go down, our elbows stay in, and as we get close to lockout, they flare. So that's that's kind of on par with how it's supposed to travel. The wider you get, the more it's going to use your chest. So the closer you get, the more it's going to be front delt and tricep. So kind of play around with it. Try a little bit wider on your warm-ups. See how they feel. But definitely add in those. You look like you got long arms.
I feel like I might, but I don't really know because I'm a short person. I'm like 5'3".
You're 5'3"?
Yeah.
Yeah. So like proportions don't really matter on it's just something I hear people say, oh, I got long arms, so overhead pressing's hard. Shut up. My arms are longer than I am tall, and I hold a world record in an overhead press. I'm 5'9", and my wingspan is 6'1". So like it's just a redundant argument. But with the shorter arm base, where I was going with that was hand position might be more optimal in one place or another, and that's why I say play around with it.
Okay. As long as there's no right or wrong, because I don't know if you're supposed to be wider or you're supposed to be more narrow, but it sounds like it can be kind of fluid.
It can be kind of fluid. I'll tell you this, on a military PT test, when we do our push-ups, our rest position is like in an arc. We can't go to our knees or anything, and we can't pick one hand up, but we can slide them in or out whenever we want, as much as we want. So what I did to max out my PT, I think it was when I was in, you had 300. You can only max out. So for my age and I think 70 push-ups was maxing out. So I would do my first 50 here in tight, unbroken, and then I would rest pause, and then I'd slide out, so I got more chest, and then I'd bang out sets of 10s till I got to like 80, and then I'd stand up and walk away because I knew I maxed it out. Didn't matter how many more I got after that. So I would use that to game kind of how much I fatigued what in the push-ups.
Okay. Good to know. Thank you very
Yes.
much.
So these are like a push-up isometric kind of we got going on here. Switch to the knees. Good. See, I like that. She did what she could and then modified. That's how you progress. You do what you can, even if it's a failure rep, and then you adjust.
Is this the lady that has the elbow issue?
I think so. I think so.
Well, that's a hell of an effort.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's her.
Yeah. . 'Cause, 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 'cause
Yeah, that's great. I've got no problem with how she's executing these. You can see the difference in her arms there.
Yeah.
It might be worth putting like a little, I don't know, 1 inch, depending on the difference, half-inch, like foam pad or block underneath the arm you can't extend all the way. And it might be a little bit more comfortable with your range of motion at the top. Food for thought, unless you've tried it and you don't like it. But that's something. I had a guy with one of my adaptive guys. He had a nub from at the elbow, birth defect and partial hand. So we would actually have him put like a pad on one side and on the floor, so he could basically do a push up. So little things like that can help with your ability to kind of get that full range of motion at the top, so it doesn't feel as quite of an imbalance. But good job on these. I love the effort. Next. Good. Yep. Next. Crushed it. Well done. That acceleration, that squeeze at the top. Soft lockout. So you're leaning back versus finishing the rep. See how your glutes and hips don't come all the way through and your knees are soft? That means you're not sliding your hips through to meet the bar. So if my hips are here, we want to bit, not this. Those hips slide through on a level axis, a level plane, whatever the scientific term is. I don't fucking know. So because you lean back with it, you fold more at the top because you're leaning back versus accelerating your hips through. So to continue pushing the ground away till your hips meet the bar. Like slam your hips into the bars like a physical cue. You've got great speed. There's just a disconnect in how you're finishing the rep because your knees and your hips are soft towards the end. You don't get the squeeze. So it creates a soft lockout. And which amplifies the difficulty of the lockout as you fatigue out. But yeah, nothing major, man. Just kind of different way to think about how you finish your pull. You actually do it on your squat. Hip, hips come through. Think about how your hips come through on a squat. They kind of slide through and you're not leaning back. Your squat looks great. I don't really want to change anything. I'm happy with these. Low bar position, totally fine. Great depth. Yeah, good job. Way to drive your back into the bar. That's a big one. When you fatigue out, you see people kind of fold and their hips rise. You got to remember to keep driving into the bar. So good job on that, man. Great work on that set. Next. Go ahead, Amelie.
I have a question. When we squat like this, it's better to step back from the rack. When we unrack the bar, we step back. We don't step forward.
Yes, because you can see the rack when you're going to rack back in. Think about it like this. Do you want to hunt for the rack when you're tired or hunt or when you're fresh?
Okay, I understand.
Yeah. You don't want to be like, dear God, I'm passing out and the rack's behind you and you got to send it back on a hope and a prayer versus like, okay, I'm about to pass out. I can see the J hooks. I'm in. You know what I mean? So yes, I always tell people always walk into the rack. I understand some situations you may have to for whatever reason. that's understandable. But if you have the choice, always walk back out of the rack and face in when you re-rack it.
Okay, thank you.
Plus, when you learn how to dump a back squat correctly, say you're in a gym that doesn't necessarily have squat arms, they all should. When you dump a bar, you don't ever want to go forward and risk putting it on your neck. You actually want to kind of pop out from under it and kind of like you kind of pop to your knees, if that makes sense. So you kind of shoot out from under it and the bar goes behind you. So if the rack's behind you, it could bounce off that rack and then come back at you. And then you just get steamrolled by your barbell. And that's not fun for anyone. So just another reason why facing the rack is always the better option.
Okay. Thank you.
I love how she says squat. That's French accent, right? Yeah, squats sound way cooler when you're French.
Yeah, it's French. But
these are great. Her elbows are stationary. The biggest thing, and we've had this question in the past, is they kind of initiate it by pulling it down versus using their core in their midsection. She's doing a really good job here of keeping her shoulders, her elbows, and everything locked in and just crunching down on this cable with her core. Great job. Got a little knee pad in there. You're killing these. Good job. Yeah, she gave me a side angle this week. That's what I asked for. Again, pause. He came out of the rack and immediately into the descent versus coming out, regaining that tension, descending. Never rush into that first rep. Your bar path is what I thought it was, and it looks great. You're driving back up towards your eyes. That left arm has a little bit of lag, but it's usually always the non-dominant hand. Good. Yeah, these are great. You see how he's coiled down into his heels. He's squeezing his butt. He has some slight arch. The only thing I want you to change is your unrack into your first rep. I want you to come out of the rack, snap that bar, crank those scapula down into your back pockets, and get that upper back tight. Otherwise, your bench press looks great, man. Your squat and your bench are fantastic. We got some work to do on your deadlift, but that's okay. There's always one. There's always one. Good job, man. Not bad for Air Force. I haven't made a branch joke on him yet, so it was due. Push-ups. Triceps for days.
Really? Okay.
Triceps for days. These are good. Yeah, your shoulder is breaking that elbow line. These are good. I'm a fan. Maybe try sliding your palms in a little bit, not this way, but this way. So you're not as much here versus here, if that makes sense.
So like where my palms are like more lined up, top and bottom at my shoulders.
Yeah, give that a shot because you're kind of like pressing like this versus coming down here might give you a little bit more of an advantageous position.
Okay. The pump was my first time ever really doing any kind of working out. So I wasn't sure where this was going to be, but Catch's article kind of pushed me off the ledge.
Good. Catch is good at doing that. These, yeah, you've got power. That's not an issue. I think if we just slide your hands down a little bit, it might put you in a little bit more of an advantageous position. Again, like I told, I'm sorry, I forget her name from earlier. Kind of play around with that width and that hand positioning.
I was listening to that. Yeah.
You'll find a rep and a light bulb will go off, and you'll be like,
And to
Okay.
give you an idea of where I am rep range, this was doing, I think it was 4 sets of like 12.
That's a good
And
place.
so I did 20 pounds this time, but I've been able to do like 40 pounds on the vest when it's been like 3 of 10. So I'm kind of
Yeah, that
playing
makes
around
sense.
with that too.
Yeah, that makes sense. You're missing a whole set of 12. So adding, uh, that much weight for that's standard. You drop sets.
Okay.
You can at least
So
sustain more.
that thought flow makes sense for you. Okay, cool.
Yeah, 100%. So like, if you have, say you have a push-up protocol, and it's a linear progression type deal where you have 5 sets of 10 this week, you have 4 sets of 10 next week, you have 3 sets of 10, 2 sets of 10, 1 set of 10. So that is linear progression in adding weight. So you'll be able to say you're doing body weight for 5x10 and you have plus 50 pounds for 1x10. So that's very standard progressive overload.
Awesome.
Allowing rep reduction for weight increase.
Cool. Thank you so much.
Not a problem. Great job.
I think I have reverse lunges in here too. I wasn't sure.
Okay. Go ahead, Noah. Fire at the next one. RDLs. So a little less leg input, but from your butt up looks fantastic. I'd like to see your hips firing through a little bit better, a little bit more violently, if you will. So we get a really strong glute contraction. Again, we can sacrifice a little bit of range of motion to get a little less leg work out of there and put way more into your hamstrings and glutes. But your position, your back and everything is awesome. So yeah, not a big change, just a little bit more awareness on the glute and the hamstring activation with the butt squeeze and using the hips coming through to create the rise in the bar. Next. Okay, so these are a deadlift. So your posture and everything looks great. I think if allow yourself to descend a little bit lower, like even, I don't know, another 4 inches. Try and get those dumbbells a little bit closer to just above ankle height, and I'd be pretty happy. But your position and your overall form with how you're carrying yourself, whether you've been watching these or do that naturally, is inherently good. So I don't want to feed you with a fire hose. I just want to see what you look like when you try and get a little bit deeper and see if anything comes up. But otherwise, I like your position. I'd like to see you stand all the way up, so you finish the rep. Your hips come all the way through. You're totally in line. So we'll just leave it at that and show me something next week with a little bit more depth. I've already seen him bench press. These are her dumbbell presses from the side. All right, Amelie, I want to see what you see with the direction of her press, because it's what we talked about with your bench press. Tell me what you notice. That rep was a little better.
it is the same thing. It's in the 90 degrees, not
Yeah.
45 degrees.
Noah, go to the beginning of the video before her first rep because she kind of fixed it as the set went on. So watch this first rep. Where does she press?
Oh, it's she need to go in front of her eyes.
Yes. Yes. That was me checking to see your awareness around the cue because you speak a fancier language than I do. And I want to make sure you're able to see what it looks like physically and not just hear what it's supposed to look like. Does that make sense?
It's when the weight is lower, it's
Yes.
nice, but higher.
Yeah, you want to press towards your face.
In
And if
front
you
of the eyes.
as her set progresses, so she's coming down a little bit too flared, which is going to put a little bit more stress on her shoulder. So what I'd like to see is her to come down in this position. This starting position's great. The only thing is she needs to press towards her face and not towards her belly button. So that's what I meant by pressing towards your face versus your belly button. This, look at that acceleration. She's got great power. She's strong. So we need to just fix her descent and create a little bit more stability, and it'll be a little bit easier on her shoulders, her elbows, if her down position is closer to her first rep, but her finishing press position is closer to this rep. And that's the same thing we're doing with you with your bench press. It's just dumbbells and barbell.
I think I see it now. Thank
Good.
you.
Yes, ma'am. Yeah, so regarding addressing her, the down position on your first rep, I love when your elbow's a little bit more in, and then you press those dumbbells towards your face. But you've got great power, great acceleration. This starting point is great. I love this. This is where I want you to continue to start, but I just want you to drive towards your face. That's really it. Otherwise, I don't want to change too much. I want you to get those two dialed in first. Same cues, squeezing your back, all that stuff that we had on the incline. Next. Big Ben. How many times have you been
Yes.
called being English?
Oh, it's one of those names I picked up at school and I've never quite got rid of. I made it mine though.
We're gonna get you from Big Ben to Diesel Ben.
I'll do my best.
These are good. You see how you're kind of twisting at the top?
Yes.
So we don't need to go quite that far. We want a contraction, but we don't want a rotation.
All right, more
It's not
more
that
stable.
it's detrimental or hurting anything. It's just unnecessary. Because we want that upper back. You've got great lawnmower form. Like if you're trying to start a stubborn carbureted motor that's pull start, you got it with that. We need a little bit less this and a little bit more this, right?
So complete
So-
stationary of the rest of my body. Just work
Yes.
that shoulder.
Yep.
I think I was so
We-
tired when I was taking these.
Not rotate.
Understood.
Otherwise, your assistance work you usually do well with. So this isn't anything catastrophic. It's not hurting you. It's not a compromising position. It's just you're doing too
I
much.
assure you, it was hurting me at the time.
Otherwise,
at the
good job.
time, I was cursing everyone. Thank you.
I love a good British insult. They just construct them so much better. Like calling someone a knob. Like,
Oh, it's peak. It is.
yeah.
People aren't even sure what it means sometimes. Those are the best.
Half the reason I love Oasis, Ben, is because they talk so much shit in British style.
Oh, but Manchester's a very special breed indeed. Yes, that's like a sub thing. That's even more.
What about a Scouser?
My dad is a Scouser, so I'm one of the few people alive that understands him.
I like they say wanker. I think that's great.
We share that word. It's good.
And the C word. You want to drive a middle-aged lady nuts in America? Use that C word.
See you next Tuesday.
Yes.
Yes. I work with a gentleman that says good morning and then addresses us all such. So
Yeah, it's like the word bro here.
it is. It's precisely that. It's not offensive at all unless you shout it at someone.
So these deadlifts, he's got the right idea. The hips do come through. It's a little delayed. But his hips do slide through. He just has no tension in the upper back. The upper back's just kind of hanging on. So this is kind of the opposite of packing those lats. This is what the opposite of it looks like when you aren't implementing that. The bar just kind of hanging there. So this gentleman, I would love to see him snap that bar and pull that upper back and push that chest out, and generate some tension. His hip position looks good. They're not shooting up or anything crazy like that. And I think it'll help him set his lumbar. He's backwards. His first rep was the best, and then it was kind of sloppy from that point on. We ended up here, but his first rep normally is the worst for most people because gravity puts you in line. So I'd love to see you just snap that bar, bringing that upper back, and push that belly button out. So you set kind of how you set up on your first rep. Minus the only thing you didn't do was set that upper back, but boom, look at that hip position, right on the money. Reach down, grabbed it, hips were right where they needed to be. So, a little bit out. This is where everyone's different, right? So you have general tendencies and commonalities. Is that even a word?
It is.
That tend to happen more frequently, and this one, he just naturally knows where his hips need to be, just needs to set that back. Next. Here we go.
Oh gosh, me again.
I could do.
I make a hash of this, I'm afraid. I'm struggling with these so much.
How tall are you?
I'm not even that tall. I'm only 6 feet tall.
Oh man, this shit makes you like 6'5".
It's all about the angle.
Ben, your depth is great.
I've got a slight heel lift, as you suggested before. My issue is that I just crumble at the bottom. I feel like my air is being forced out of me by my own belly.
So here's what I'll tell you. How many powerlifters do you see on the internet that have a gut?
Oh, most of them.
They like to call it a power belly. So this isn't an uncommon problem. If your air is being forced out, it means you're not squeezing in that brace hard enough. So when you squat, do you get head pressure?
Yes, I actually almost all the time. I feel like I'm going to pass out.
So like when you feel like you're going to pass out, have you ever actually come close to passing out from bracing?
Yes.
Okay. You know when you get that tunnel vision?
Yes.
So when you're bracing, do you feel it like in your face at the bottom?
I'd have to consider that. It's more almost between my eyes. I feel like it's strange. It's
Yeah, that's in your face,
Yeah.
between your eyes. So that's good. What I want you to do is, have you ever? Now I know there's ladies in here, and this can be embarrassing, but a guy that's been lifting for a long time, this comes down to anatomy. So when if you're on Instagram at all and you've seen women, elite level powerlifters or strong women, you've seen someone piss on the platform. It's because women brace to their pelvic floor and men brace to their butthole. So like I've sharded on a rep. My training partners have sharded on a rep. I've seen girls pee on the floor mid squat, mid deadlift. It's normal. So when you're bracing down into that belly, you should probably get a little bit of that pelvic floor pressure, and you probably might feel it in your butthole a little bit because you're gonna fart, pass gas, shit, who knows? Depends on what you had to eat that day.
Yeah, that's interesting.
So when you're getting that internal abdominal pressure and it feels like it's forcing air out of you, squatting with a belly is actually advantageous because it creates a barrier. When you're down at the bottom, you actually have your belly and your thighs to brace against. Believe it or not, it's actually slightly an advantage in a way, because it creates a barrier between your brace and your thigh. You have a rigid spot that provides a barrier, as a belt would, to brace against. So it makes sense that you're feeling pressure down in the bottom there. Now, is that something that we can change immediately? Nope. Is it something that
Fair
you're
enough.
going to have to get used to for now as you lose weight? Yep. Don't look at it as this situation where you're like, it's forcing the air out of me. Squeeze harder. Get used to the
Okay.
pressure. Get used to that pressure. If you're getting pressure and you're not forcing the air, the air's not coming out. It's a good thing. It means you're bracing really, really, really hard. And some
see.
people learn that faster than others. You're a big boy. You're a big boy. And
I shrink weekly.
you're dealing with the cards that are on the table. So I want you to use this opportunity to be more conscious of your brace and you make it work for you, rather than be like, shit, I'm fat. It's forcing the air out. And you just got to frame it mentally different. Be like, I got a power belly, baby. Let's party. Like I got a little bit, I got counterbalance, whatever you want to call it. You're not out here
All right.
being fat and sorry for yourself. You're out here making a difference. You're out here changing your life.
Yeah, those days are done.
You're gonna have
We're
these
not-
little hurdles, these discomforts. The people, I always try to tell people, don't try to make training comfortable, because this hurts. It hurts when I hold the bar this way. Yeah, it's a metal bar with knurling. Like it's not a fucking pillow. What do you mean? I have like a knot on my back from squatting. I have scars on my hands from Dinny stone rings and barbells and shedding calluses carrying a 600-pound frame. It's going to leave marks. There's going to be discomfort. You're going to have that extra pressure at the bottom because you have something pressing into your core when you're at the bottom up against your thighs. And it's okay. And use it as a piece of feedback of like, yeah, I was bracing really, really hard that set. Because it's just another form of physical feedback. That's temporary
Okay.
because you're losing the weight.
Oh, it's coming. It's coming off. I'm 163 pounds down now, and more to go. But we're steaming ahead.
You look
Thank
fantastic.
you.
Every time I see you with your Friday flex, you look great.
But that's actually very helpful for me. So is this a bit of a body image issue, but it's getting there. But otherwise, everything looks good.
Yeah.
You're
Suck it up, Big Ben. You're doing great.
And there's nothing
understood.
better
Yes,
than
sir.
strangers telling you have rough hands. It's the best feeling in the world. So if you ever worry about calluses, just think about all the times you shake someone's hand and they go, wow, you're a hard worker.
I was about to say, what are you doing?
Well, thank you, chaps.
Always.
I step in front of the rack. I wasn't know.
Can we take a moment to acknowledge her gym drip right now? She's got the match. She's got the orange. She got the teal. Like Amelie's color coordinated to the teeth right now.
Très bien, Emily.
I will.
Let's see. These are better. You're still shaky at the bottom. Uh-oh. What happened? We froze. Oh, there we go. I want you to take about 2 inches outward on your foot lip. And the reason being is because I think when you're coming down, because everything looks good, and then those knees fold, do you see how you then change your foot position again?
I wasn't comfortable in the first rep. I think I was maybe too wide, but after I wasn't not comfortable either. So I don't know.
So I want
Right.
you to take your feet and go out like this 2 inches.
Okay.
Like literally like this. So what that's gonna do is it's gonna allow your knees to track out over your toes. And it's gonna give you, think of like how a triangle is formed, right? So by us, think brain words not good enough. So I'm drawing. Bear with me.
It's like a sumo position.
Like a child drew it, but it's fine. So these are your footprints,
Yeah.
right? This is the toe. This is the heel.
Yeah.
Makes a triangle, right?
Yeah.
So what we're trying to do is create one big triangle out of your body. When you're at the bottom and your legs are bent, and you're at the bottom of your squat, so that's your bum, that's your heel, that's your knee. So what do we see? We see a bunch of triangles. We have a triangle here, knee to toe. We have a triangle here, and we have a triangle here. So we have a triangle. Where did I go? I can't see. Oh, there we go.
Oh, sorry, I just wanted to have you be bigger for this.
So this is your chest up here. Chest to knee creates a triangle at your butt. Butt to heel creates a triangle with your knees. Toe to knee creates a triangle at your heels. So
it's good, the triangle.
Yes, what we're doing by turning those toes out and creating a triangle is, if we look at you from the front, there's a triangle from your knees to your belly button that goes like this. So we rotate that out and create a triangle on this plane. So it allows you to drive those knees out using your glutes and create more stability in the bottom of your squat, so you're not doing this. So you're descending under tension and pulling outwards with your knees, engaging the outsides of your glutes, so you have tension in the hole. You create another triangle. Does that make sense?
Yeah, but what's the difference with the triangle and the sumo position?
So if you're parallel, right, you have no tension in those glutes. You're kind of, I'm pretty confident that the reason why you're having that wobble down at the bottom is because something's not engaging. And odds are, if you take a band and you wrap it around your knees or hip circle, something light, nothing heavy tension, you actively drive out against it, I'm willing to bet that you stop that quivering in the hole, because now your glutes are now fighting at the bottom. You now have tension in your glutes, and it's creating stability, because we went from this to this, which if we turn it and look at it from the top, it creates a triangle, right? So we're creating yet again another triangle, the strongest structure in existence. We do it on deadlifts, we do it on squats.
Okay.
So turning those toes out, and if you do it under the bar and screw your heels in, I had April do it on a phone call a few weeks ago, because she asked about her toes being straight forward versus corking them out a little bit, and doing it while trying to keep your foot planted. You feel from here up, light up into your glute. So just by screwing your feet in and pointing those toes out and creating that tension, you now have tension from the top of your rep to the bottom of your rep, and you're engaging things start to finish. So if we have a band to give you physical input to remind you, drive my knees out, and you drive against that band, your glute's going to light up. And odds are, if there's tension, there's going to be more stability.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
I will do it. Yeah.
Great.
Really, thank you.
With that being said, everything you've posted this week looks better than the last time.
Thank you. It's hard.
I don't even know what I just marked up. Hope it wasn't important. a little shallow, but overall the posture's good. The form's good. The form's intact. I just want you to sit deeper. There's a slight forward deviation, but it's not constant. I think honestly, lowering the weight and just getting you comfortable with getting down there is what you need. I don't think there's nothing really inherently going wrong with your form. Everything's where it's supposed to be, per se. I think we just need you to know what at depth feels like is the main thing. So whether it be running a band across those squat arms and dropping them down so you have a physical marker or a box, but we want that hip to break your knee line. So the hip crease needs to break the knee line is the target we're going for. So I think we just drop weight and you doing a ton of reps at depth will create that muscle memory, if you will, at getting down there and get you comfortable and confident. 9 times out of 10, depth is a confidence issue. They just don't know where it is and what it's supposed to feel like. And that's really what's going on here, because there's nothing inherently going wrong with a squat. He's thinking he's at depth, he's folding a little bit or leaning forward, and his hips don't progress to drop. His shoulders just get lower. So we just need to get you sitting a little bit longer. That's all. Everything looks okay from the front. I would love to see it from the side. Pulls in tension, sets his hips, pushes the ground away. From the front, this looks great. I would love to see what this looks like from the side to see if we can make this more efficient. But I don't really have too much to say because I can't see everything. His shoulders look set. His upper back looks together. Again, I'd really like to see it from the side to get I just don't like coaching out of my ass, or over coaching. If it doesn't need anything, it doesn't need anything. But I'd like to be sure. Never in my life have I encountered someone that doesn't really need a cue on a compound lift. There's always something to be worked on. But it looks good from here. So, Ignacio, I'd love for you to submit one from the side so I can see what else is going on with your deadlift. But strong pull, position looks all right from here. I love the acceleration. Your hips advance to the bar. A lot of good green flags here. So I'd love to see it from the side, man. Is that it?
That is it. Yeah.
That was a long one.
It's,
We have
2.5 hours.
I appreciate you
job.
guys sticking around from that. I don't like leaving anyone behind. So Noah, thanks for sticking with this and doing what you do. Everyone, thank you for your patience.
Thank you for your
Thank
time.
you.
Always.
This is
Thank
so
you.
helpful.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Sure.
Really, thank you.
Bye,
It's
guys.
Almost
Thank you.
better than sex.
Whoa. April,
Maybe,
you're lucky we
maybe,
don't have
but-
an HR department around here.
I didn't say that.
Incredible.
The next Pump Club meetup's going to be strange.
Did almost.
All right, y'all. Have a good day. Have a good weekend. We'll see you next time.
Take
Video
care.
will be uploaded soon. And I'm trying to break down these form checks into individuals so that you guys can see these down the line. So I'm working on that. Just kind of tedious. So it's a little slow, but I'll work on that too. So thank you guys.
Well done, Noah.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.